What's up, my good people? Back, it's your favorite uncle. Um, Today, first day of February. Um, Man, there's so much going on right now. Markets are crazy, all asset classes. Um, and we're really just getting started. I hope everybody had a good January, good start to the year. I know a couple people that have been trading with me. Um, we've been doing pretty well. Um, and just trying to stay alive, guys. That's it, man. Build up some capital and and take some of this money back. So let's just get into it like always. What I actually wanted to do before I start with the bonds, we just got word that the government is in another shutdown. Um, Now they said that they expect this one to um, the votes to come on Tuesday to where they can end the shutdown. But um, in a nutshell, what happened is that the funding lapsed at 12 o'clock on yesterday, well, 12 o'clock, midnight last night, because Congress didn't finish passing all the spending bills required to fund the government for the current fiscal year. So the Senate passed a funding package, and that included most federal agencies are funded through the end of the year. Um, but it only set a short extension for the Department of Homeland Security. So, and that's about 2 weeks. And because of the disagreements over the immigration enforcement, and so we're kind of at a standstill right now. They do expect to get the votes in to pass it, but we're just having so much trouble with DHS and ICE and everything else, and that also leads into something else I wanted to talk about with Minnesota. Um, so once they get that funded and passed, you're going to see them take over Minnesota completely. And I'm going to tell you why. It's not a they didn't pick a random state to take over, right? Minnesota is essential to energy, right? And with AI, all these AI data centers, they just eat up electricity, right? And it strains America's grid, right? And it's expensive. And everybody who is investing in anything knows that energy is the new gold, right? This is why you have BlackRock and Blackstone and BlackRock specifically. They bid over $6 billion for Minnesota Power, right? And Blackstone dropped over 11 billion dollars on TXNM Energy. So they try to make it, oh, we have all these thugs in the street and the Somalis and whatever. That has nothing to do with anything. They need to take over the land there. They need to take over the natural resources there, and they needed to take over the basically the stabilization there so that they control the energy. They control the energy, they control the grid. So Minnesota's not random, you know. Um, but it's actually central to the transition narrative, right? So because you have all the retiring coal plants, you have expanding wind and solar. Um, uh, oh man, it's just with this green energy policy, it's just being able to compete in an industrial. But again, those are fundamentals, those are economics, those are things for another day. I know you guys want to see the charts and get into the charts. So charts going to tell us everything that we already know. So let's get into it. So the bonds. So we're looking at the bonds, and right now I'm still bearish on bonds, right? After we took quarter three high for 2025, we sold off all of Q4, right? We've really just been accumulating right now, and let me turn this thing on because somebody said it would be easier to follow along. So we sold off, and and with the accumulation, you're not going to get really a bunch of sustained moves. So I am still bearish on bonds right now, which means I would temporarily be bullish Dixie. So what we've had last week, if we souped this on the 30 year, we souped the weekly, right? Sold and sold off, right? And this is my favorite pattern, if you will, right? Is when we super high and close below the open, right? So I'm definitely bearish on the bonds this week. And then what you have here is you have your SMT or your divergence between the weeks because we did not take the previous week high here on the 10-year note. And this is beautiful too because here what we have is our equal lows and we have a slight gap that we filled in already. Um, so let's just take it down to the daily and we don't really have to go too much further than this. So here um, I would expect us to probably come up, maybe fill in the gap here, or at the very least, we take the previous week high somehow, make a move, um, do something here, and maybe create another divergence SMT or whatever. And then we sell off, take these lows. We can continue selling off. We might come back into the range. I don't know what happens when we get there, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, short term bullish on bonds, but for the weekly, I'm bearish, and that pretty much takes care of that. So even if I go over to Dixie, let's give me 1 second. Where am I at? Yeah, let's go here. Let's go to weekly forecast. All right. So Dixie, oh good old Dixie, right? So what we did is we swept 2025 lows, and then that got bought up. That got bought up quickly, right? On the monthly. Um, if you're looking at the monthly, just in general between the last 2 months, it's we weren't able to push up. We literally just open high, low, closed. But we've met our target here. So if we run it down to the weekly, um, a nice rejection off of here, which created the weekly imbalance, right? So now we have a weekly imbalance. We have something to target. Um, so we can target this weekly minus, let's see. So we can target this weekly imbalance. Let's go down to the daily. Um, so will this weekly hold? I don't know. I have no idea, but we'll see what happens when we get there. So we could open up where are we at? We could open up here, dance around, make some moves. I don't know, and then sell off, or um, or we, or let me just delete that. Or we could actually open up here, and create a wick here if we're not going to respect it, and then continue up. But whichever way we open up, expect us to make something happen inside this gap. So there's a ton of news this week, so there's all kind of things going on, and even with the shutdown, who knows when they actually announce it, what kind of liquidity that's going to inject into the market and whatnot, and what kind of moves we're going to have. But as of now, short-term bullish on Dixie, and from there, I'm going to leave it. We're just going to watch because even with all the macroeconomic news going on, there we can't call it yet. We really can't call it. So, because even if I go back to let me see, go back to the monthly here, right? If we're looking at the monthly, right, what you have in this leg here is, all right, so with this consolidation, we've taken one side of the consolidation. We could come up and take the other side. If we do that, this is what you have here. You have your order block here, right? Your monthly order block. So we could easily, we could come up and continue to sell off, or we could come up, visit this order block, fill in this imbalance. This is the previous year EQ. We have imbalances up here. We could. It just depends on what they want to do with the dollar first. If they want to sell it off first and then run it up, or you know, who knows. So we're just gonna watch and wait. No rush, man. There's really no rush. We just want to see what happens here. So again, I'm expecting some action once we hit this gap. And I don't expect it to stay in this gap long. But what I will say is, yeah, on the 4 hour, after we sold off, we started inverting all these gaps here, right? So even uh, so we started inverting all these gaps, disrespecting all these gaps. So if we do get a a slight retracement, which I would love, then we can look to buy from here. Look to buy from down here. Then we can get up into this gap here, and like I said, anything can happen. We can continue up, we can sell off. So we'll see. But let's go over to the euro and see what we have. I want to start on the 3 month with the euro. So um, let's see. The 3 month really right now is really just a monthly chart. But I wanted you to see this, right? So we have this 3 month imbalance here. I'm gonna put it. So we have this 3 month imbalance. We weren't able to close above this high. So try to push up, have a little rejection here so far. But on the monthly, we actually swept the low and closed above. So off that alone, I would be semi-bullish, but because of everything going on, this could easily be the start of a reversal. Um, so on the weekly, again, the 2025 high, we took that high and rejected hard, sold off hard. But what that did was created this weekly gap. Um, Same thing as Dixie. So I'm looking, I'm looking to trade off of this. And if we're going to hold, we're going to come in here. Where's my thing? We come in here, fill in some imbalances. There's your demand zone, order block, whatever. We could run a little bit lower, but if we are going to hold, it'll be. I expect it to be somewhere here. We may fill in this gap completely, and we could take off from here, or we can continue to sell off. Don't know, but we'll see what kind of structure we form once we're inside here. So let's see, the pound. The pound was actually interesting me. Same thing. I have the pound a lot more bullish than euro at the moment, and uh, just by the monthly alone, I'm looking at continued higher prices. But uh, we have the same situation. We have the weekly gap here, and uh, look, I want to sell off here into the gap, fill in some of these imbalances, and then we want to see what we get once we're in here. So from here, if we can get any type of pullback, let's go to the 1 hour actually. If we can get any type of pullback, and what I like here is we have that soup, right? We have that soup of London. So if we can just, maybe stair step here, we actually have a inverted daily gap, and then we can sell off. We can get a nice little trade into the gap, and and then we can hold this until we get some type of structure out of here if we're going to hold, or again we can sell off. We don't know. We'll play those probabilities and whatever when we get there, but I'm actually hoping we get this retracing this open high on the majors, um, so that we have a target. As of right now, we have a target. But what we've also left at the top here is all of this, right? All of this easily could be ran. So if we get in here and we move around, um, we have a target at the highs and we have a target at the lows, and that's all you really can ask for. So GU is pretty high on my list for tradables this week. Um, Now, I was gonna save gold and silver for last, but let's just go ahead and get into it, man. I wish there was somebody who, actually, let me delete this because I'll show you guys something later. I wish there was somebody who would have told us that silver and gold were going to sell off like this, that they were pushing it to the top, just so they could liquidate everybody, so that they could save the banks, and so that um, they could manipulate every account, every brokerage, I don't know if there's anybody out there. Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. It was me. Yeah, it definitely was me. Watch those forecasts. Um, I told you guys to be careful buying. Um, I don't think that's the top by any means, by any stretch. But I told you it was coming. And I told you it was coming by January 31st. And on January 30th, they decided to wipe everybody's ass. And unfortunately, some people got hit, and that's the name of the game. But those who are long, you can still be long temporarily. They're going to buy up. I mean, they're going to sell off for a little bit. So we're just going to have to play the charts right now. Um, the crazy thing is that China is stockpiling silver, and the U.S. is trying to make it worthless, right? Um, and everybody else is caught in the middle, right? So China had put restrictions on selling silver, um, and so they've been they're actually this has been going on since 2020. But silver is critical for things like solar panels and battery, electric vehicle batteries. But when you control silver, you control the green energy. Remember what I talked about before, Minnesota green energy. So it's literally a battle between China and the U.S. right now, right? Now, don't get it mistaken. They work together with silver, right? They work together with accumulating silver. But what the U.S. won't do is sell China any of its silver. It says, yeah, we'll facilitate it, but we won't sell it to you, right? And so that's where J.P. Morgan and Chase comes in. J.P. Morgan and Chase I believe, is the biggest holder in the United States of silver. Um, but again, that's a whole nother ball game. If we're just looking at charts, let's take a look at gold right quick. All right, so on the weekly, we have that crazy sell-off, right? And we have two weekly imbalances that we can go down and we can fill. And I think those are going to be the targets. So I'm going to be bearish on the weekly for gold. Again, we crazy rejection, right? Crazy. And I think this was something like 60,000 ticks. Yeah, 61,000 ticks. So 611 pips. Um, so God bless whoever caught the top of that thing, man. Um, but so we have this daily gap that we actually respected. So well, you know what? Let's just get into it right now. I'm going to be looking to trade gold off the open, right, in Asia. And so what I have here, let me go down to the 1 hour because this is yeah. So, kind of so this block right here, or this gap right here, right? I want to see this gap respected. I don't want to come down and hit this weekly gap yet. I want to create some failure swings, right? I want to create some failure swings here. And what I would like is us to respect this wick, right? Respect the 50% of this wick. And I would like to take out some of these highs, right? Look at all this liquidity resting, right? And so once we do this, right, and we can take out some of these highs. Don't know how far we could run up, but um, take out some of these highs, fill in some of these imbalances, right? And then we have a target. We have a target here, and we can fill in this weekly gap or this weekly gap, whatever, right? But off the open, off this 1 hour, I would like to see us respect this, right? Actually, let's go to 5. All right, so right, so now we're just building liquidity at the highs, building at the highs, right? This is technically what your shift or whatever here. So right, we're inducing this came down here, inducing more buyers, right? Now I want to see all of this ran. I want to run all of this out here, and I'm looking to trade this off of here, and I'm actually just looking to really here to trade it back to previous day low, right? And then I'll leave runners for everything else, right? Up here, we come back up here. I'm not looking to go to previous day high or anything, but I would like to see all of this liquidity here ran out. I like to see all of that ran out. All right. So Well, you get it. You get the idea. So that's that. Let's go to silver real quick. Same idea. Same idea, really. This rejected even harder, right? This rejected about, I think it was 30% almost. 20, yeah, 29% drop. A 30% drop. Now you can't tell me that's not manipulated, man. So I'm very bearish on silver. I'm only looking for bearish setups. I'm not trading silver until we retrace into this range, and then we can find something. So even if you just want to take this range from here to here, right? I'm not doing anything until we've made some type of shift, probably on the 1 hour actually, you know. So once we come up here, once we come back up here, where we at? Up in here, and if we can get something, I'm not trading it until I get this right here, right? And then that lower time frame, I'm looking for the same thing. I'm not trading it until I get that here, right? And then I'll look to, from there, I'll look to put them here and do something like that, and then down here. So that's going to be on my watch list this week as well. But it's only temporary, right? This is temporary, right? They're just pushing the price down until they decide wherever the bottom is. Don't know. There's a lot of stuff to get ran though, but once it creates some structure here, we can be looking for the buys again, but I probably won't see that until, the second, third week. What's interesting to me is this guy right here, this basket. Been waiting on this for so long. I actually been waiting on this for months. Um, Took this 2024 low. So the low was made in July 24. And we've taken it now, right? And we've rejected hard on the monthly. Hard, right? So now we have this weekly, oh, don't do me like that. All right, this weekly soup, right? Now, if you trade patterns, you're saying, oh, we just ran all of this. We just ran all of this. Maybe we come back down. Maybe, maybe. That's not how I'm trading. That's not how I'm looking to trade it right now, right? Because what I'm seeing is this is just, I see this part as manipulation, this push down. Um, and if you look at this daily structure right here, this is your textbook, literally your textbook. Um, you know, high, low, lower high, lower low, higher high, and here, right? So I'm expecting a little retracement. We could take this previous day low, but from here I want to see this hold. So I am looking to trade off of, let's see. I'm looking to trade regular block right here. Let me remove this. Remove this. Let me go to my 1 hour. Right. I'm actually looking to trade this. Let me hide that route. No, I don't need to hide it for whatever. So I'm looking for this type of movement here, right? I'm looking for this to be a just an inducement of the highs, and even if we come up to break it, um, I still think we come back down here. So I'm looking to trade that here, and this is a hold for me. This is a hold for a long time for me. So whichever JPY pairs I'm trading, I'm just looking to hold it. So JPY is high on my list, and let me go to USD JPY so that we can look at it, right? So on the monthly, like again, one of my favorite things to look at. Um, that this monthly souped, right? Souped, closed below, crazy, and we took to 2025 high. Um, and for those of you who are in the Discord and whatnot, you know what I like to see. We created that. Actually, I think I have this on a lower time frame, but let's go to the weekly. Yeah, I do. I already had it. So you know what I like to see, right? Soup, short-term high, reversal point, came back up here, perfect textbook. And look what we did on the weekly. Sold off, right? So if you're creating, so this technically would be your weekly order block or whatever. Um, this weekly has no wick, right? So we came. Um, if you use a wick as your breaker structure, which is fine to do, it's just an early indication to me. But since this has no wick, I figured we would come back forward. Now we've created a weekly gap, right? Weekly gap. Where's my weekly gap? Let me just put it on there. So we are in a weekly gap, and on the daily, look, we're pushing hard. So I expect us to come back up here, fill in this range. And for me, it is shorts. It's shorts all day here. So and we literally have a ton to target, right? There's all kind of failure swings, all here, all failure swings here, all the way down to 139.5. So this could be a massive trade for anybody if you get a hold of it. I don't expect us to come up here. The next time we come up here, it'll be to run this entire box. It'll be up to run it. So we'll be bullish back by that time. So let's move along, my guys, my guys. I really hope everybody's been doing good, man. Um, so Euro monthly. The Euro's it's just dying, man, and it's going to die for a little bit longer. Let me see. Let me check the 3 month real quick. So this we do have this 3 month gap for last quarter, right? So off of this quarter to target. So we're there with that. The previous month closed below. There's no buying. There's no bullishness, no sentiment at all on the euro, and we had a previous weekly soup. This one couldn't push above at all, so I expect more. We left failure swings here. We have failure swings all here. So this is my first target here for the euro, which means it just to me I don't trade the euro pound, but it's just for strength analysis. And yeah, we're gonna continue selling off. I believe we had a soup daily. I don't even know if you get a push up at all before we take these lows. So we could just take these lows straight off the rip. Let's see here, straight off the rip. This is ugly, obviously. So if we do get any type of movement up here, um, any type of movement up here, you can just deem it as false, right? This is just all false movement. And if you do trade it, this will just give you a better entry to target these lows, to target these failure swings, and then ultimately, I wouldn't hold it down here just because you get so much chop all the time on this pair. Um, so, so euro weaker than pound. Um, Same thing with Aussie. And I actually traded Aussie New Zealand last week, made a couple dollars on the longs and got out of that fairly quickly because when I saw this move, after we swept this weekly high and souped that, um, we have that soup on the daily too, and then we have this close below. So if you do trade the candle theory stuff, that's your second, that's your third candle, and so this could be this just could fall off the map with all the news and whatnot going on today, this week. So you have your first set of failure swings here, you have a bunch of failure swings here to target, and then you have even more here. So I don't know how long the Aussie is going to be weak, but I anticipate it could be for a while. But well, you can always evaluate once you start taking out lows. Once we start taking out lows, we just evaluate, just continue to evaluate. And so let's move on to CAD CHF. Now this pair you might see a little flip here, right? Because we just took out, we took out two 2025 lows, right? On the monthly. It's the monthly candle is extremely bearish though. But this rejection, same thing. Same thing. No monthly wick. I mean, no weekly wick, right? So we have a target, right? We have a target, and we're literally almost there. So I expect us to come up here, see what's going on. We could continue to sell off, or do we just fly through that, and then we have a bunch of failure swings here. So I don't know if we're going to come up here, retest it. We have an imbalance. What I love to see, this is my favorite thing. Um, Failure swings right under an imbalance. So we could come up here and test it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see once we get in this gap. All right. Do we continue to sell off, or do we come up here and test it and then sell off? We'll see. But right now, this is our first target. So even on the hourly, if we get us some, if you sell off for a little bit, or we open up low and then get up here, we'll see what happens. If we open up and come up here early, then we'll evaluate once we're inside. So here's the other issue was Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin. Let's start on the monthly with Bitcoin. Oh man, this is actually crazy. So I've been calling for 44 on Bitcoin for a long time, and I said that we could actually get back down to around 15. When it was at 120 something, everybody was like, "Oh, that's crazy. It'll never get that low." Surprise, 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 surprise. So after we ran December's highs and we sold off hard, right? Now we are in the, I'm not even gonna curse. We're in it, right? So we're at this level, and this is a very key level for me. Um, if we're going to get a bounce, it's going to be from here, right? Now, is this going to hold, or is this going to run these lows and then bounce? I don't know. But I am interested in watching this because I think that if we do not get this, if we don't get a bounce from here, that it's possible that we could come down here and then we get our short term bounce here, and then after we get that short term bounce, we could sell off. The So anywhere in between here, I'll be monitoring. Up here, I'm still a little bearish. If it moves up here a little bit, I'm still bearish because I still think we come back here and test it. The real issue is this golden area right here. If this point of interest doesn't hold and we come down here, I don't know if this holds. And if that doesn't hold, you can see I have this on my chart. I'm dollar cost averaging. I'm buying everything in this level. Every single day, I will be buying Bitcoin from this level. So either I'll come and if it goes this way, I have to come live with one of you guys, or I come this way and I get a new phone number, right? So we'll see. But this is right here is key level, and we'll see what happens. Even on the daily right now, it's just a bunch of bearishness. So I don't know what we'll see or what will happen. We'll just have to wait to see what transpires. But just be cautious if you're looking to, because I was initially I was going to buy Monday because I was expecting a bounce. But and I may take a shot depending, because inside this area I have this little area, right? This little, point of interest, my reversal point of interest, right? So I still may take a shot out of here tomorrow and see, just to get a little, um, a little payday. So we'll see. But I do expect this to hold. I expect this to bounce up here. But we do have, this is all right. So I wouldn't run it to these highs, but I expect it maybe to come up here and create some failure swings to be able to run later. We do have a bunch of failure swings here, all the way around here, and then we have some imbalances we could feel. There's another soup up here. Uh, so to create some highs, we create some failure swings up here. So we'll see. But yeah, that's on that. Same thing with ETH. Look at that. That's nasty work. But you do have your SMT with Bitcoin right here on the daily. So you have that. And if you look at it on the actually, let me go back to the daily. All right, let me zoom out. All right. So, all right, let me explain this a little bit. Can I do it on the weekly? Yeah, I can do it on the weekly. Cool. So we ran up right here, right? And then we had a fake breaker structure right here. Um, right, fake breaker structure, right? But we ended up selling off. All right, then we ended up breaking it again. Um, and then we sold off here, right? Came up here, had a nice break. Let me just remove that. So I had a clean break, right? Close above, and then we have the sell off. So I do expect a bounce from here, right? So if we do bounce from here, um, we could come up lower time frame imbalances, do whatever here. But if this does not hold, you have all of this liquidity resting, right? This line is 880, right? So could we see Ethereum below 880 again in quarter 1? That actually would be that would be crazy. Actually, it wouldn't be crazy. Nothing is crazy anymore. Nothing is wild. Nothing is above the imagination anymore. Anything can happen, right? Because the reality is the dollar is in financial crisis, right? Central banks are buying gold to back their currencies. They're replacing the dollar, and gold is going to become the world's reserve currency, right? So currencies used to be backed by physical gold. However, there was one particular country that decided, hey, we can loan out more money than the actual physical gold that we have. And I'm not going to say any names because they don't like when you say their name and then they call you a name for saying something about them. But you guys can do your research about that. But this is where interest rates and loans and subsidizing began. And this crisis is actually going to be worse than 2008 and the dot com and any other, anything else you can name in recent history. And the reason why it's not a global financial crisis, right? This is central to everybody here in the United States. So if you're in the United States, you're going to feel it. If you're somebody that is in position to, maybe live at home with a parent still, or if you're a young kid and you're still living at home and you want to get on your own, just wait. Just wait. And the reason why is because everything's going to cost you so much more money. Your dollar's not going to be worth as much. Just stack your coins. It's going to rebound. Just let it. There's no rush to do anything. If you have somebody that you live with, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, whatever, a roommate, y'all stick it out. Y'all figure it out together and y'all lean on each other because when this gets in the mud like it's going to, all the help you can get is you're going to need it, right? There's not going to be government resources to help. There's not going to be anybody lowering prices or putting things on sale. You're just not going to be able to do certain things. And this is why I say stop playing with these accounts. Um, get all your money, accumulate these accounts, get all your capital up, and take them for everything that you physically can, right? Like this is it's so not a joke, man. We just have to get to it, man. Um, but I tell all my nephews that, man, get to it. Um, the last thing is NASDAQ. So let me go to my chart here. Let's go to the monthly here. All right. Um, so we've been seeing nothing but all 2025. It's been up, right? It's been up the entire year. So it's time for a little relief, right? And everybody knows it's the same companies propping up the whole indices market, right? The same 7 companies, right? You got the Apple, your Google, your Nvidia, Facebook, Tesla, and I can't even think right now, but whoever else, right? So but the one company propping up everything is Nvidia, right? This is why Nvidia, I'm sorry, this is why China wants Taiwan so they can all the chips and the transistors and everything else that Taiwan produces, they control that, they control the market. And it is what it is, right? Everybody wants to take over somebody else so that they can be the boss. Um, But for this particularly, right, what we see last week is we see a rejection here. We took previous week high and then we rejected hard. We did not get previous week high here on the Dow. And so we have a slight SMT there, right? We have there and there. Ooh, my bad. And here. Okay. So if we get down to the daily, so what we could see is what we could see is we could see an open high, low close on the weekly, right? And it's actually what I expect to see. Um, I'm looking, let me look at MNQ here because I think I'm marked up over here already. Did I? No, I didn't. Let me look at the weekly. No, but um, we did leave these equal highs here, right? And I don't expect them to necessarily get ran at the moment. Um, Let me just go back to that. Not so equal on this is the current contract. So you can actually see a difference between, right, how close these highs are on MNQ and not the current contract. But either way, I'll just use the current. I'll just use the essay here. But we have these equal highs. I don't expect them to get ran because I expect them to be targets for a later time. So I expect us to, like I said, um, to respect this gap, right? Maybe respect, uh, 50% of this gap, whatnot. I don't know. I have this purple shit here. So again, open high, open high, and then I expect a sell off, low close, and I expect the weekly candle to look something like that. So um, that's really it. We do have this inversion gap here on the daily that we could test. We have some, low no low resistance, liquidity, or whatever you want to call failure swings here that we could test. So I will be short. I'll be looking short, uh, pretty fairly early for NQ. And that's really it for the week, guys. The last thing I wanted to leave you is with is I don't know if you guys saw that China calls for the yuan to become the global reserve currency. So he won't be the last person to bid for his country to become the world's currency. Everybody sees what happened with the dollar, so they're pulling their money out of it, right? The bonds, the treasuries, everything's happening so quickly, right? Then you have this guy Walsh that they're tapping to be the next Fed chair, and he's a guy that wants to burn it all down, right? And started from zero. So it's going to be volatile, man. Everything's going to be volatile from NQ to Dixie to gold and silver especially, and then that just overflows over to the currency. So good luck this week, and I'll see you boys next week. And actually, I'll see you boys all week long. And until next time, I appreciate y'all checking in. Take care.